If we recall back to 2007 when Assassin's Creed 1 came out, if you paid attention, you'd have noticed that the Levantine assassins amputated their left hand's ring finger in order to use the hidden blade. Although I have no idea why the picture I used depicts Altair with a missing finger on his right hand. I found it on Google Images, it's probably just been flipped by somebody. Within Assassin's Creed lore, by the time of the Italian Renaissance, some 350 to 400 years later, this sacrifice is no longer required due to modifications, as we're told. Now if we bring ourselves to the latest Assassin's Creed installment, Origins, when Bayek gets the hidden blade, he doesn't immediately cut his finger off, showing that the blade was usable without amputating the ring finger on the blade hand, proving that this blade sacrifice that the Levantine assassins made probably wasn't 100% necessary. Or was it? In this video, we're going to be making sense of this in order to explain it in a way that works and fits within lore and general practicality. Before we get into this explanation, I wish to give credit to the individual who brought this idea to my mind. _AZ_the dude. So now that credit's out the way, let's get into making sense of this. It's not particularly confusing, to be fair. As far as I'm aware, there's no real explanation given for this in canon, but then again, it's something that's not necessarily needing an explanation, as we can apply logic to get a conclusion worth reaching. I'll present multiple potential reasons and explain each as we go. So let's get going. First of all, let's address how Bayek lost his ring finger. When fighting Eudorus, Bayek's hand was forced into a fist, at which point he activated the blade, sending it through his ring finger and into Eudorus' neck, killing him but severing the finger in the process. Quite clearly an accidental mutilation, proving that the hidden blade was initially not designed to require the removal of a finger, though it also proves that the blade does pose a threat to the user's hand if that finger is still present, a threat that is amplified when the hand is in certain positions such as a clenched fist. So how does this factor into why the Levantine assassins, for example, removed the fingers before using the blade completely? As barbaric as it might sound, it could be a tactical thing. It wouldn't be convenient in the heat of the moment in a life or death situation to suddenly be in extreme pain, and I think it's a no-brainer that accidentally severing your finger in the middle of a fight checks that box. To avoid that accident happening in a life or death scenario, it would just be simpler to remove that finger in a controlled environment. The next reason we can gather from Assassin's Creed 2. Even though by this point the assassins didn't continue to remove the ring finger in order to use the hidden blade, they still branded the ring finger with a mark to show commitment to the creed. So before this point, it's arguable that the removal of the finger was a trial of commitment to the Brotherhood, to ensure the undivided loyalty of the Creed's subjects. This is arguably backed up by the ending of Assassin's Creed Origins, where Tahira removed her own finger when Bayek tried to tell her that she didn't have to do this. She simply responded with "I believe in you" and then cut her finger off, showing her commitment to the Hidden Ones. Could this have been the birth of that tradition? So the two reasons that we have at the moment are practicality and tradition, and there's nothing stopping those from going hand in hand. Removing the ring finger is a sign of commitment to the creed, but at the same time Leonardo da Vinci did claim that the blade had been modified to not require a finger sacrifice. Though require might be a strong word, I'd say an advised finger sacrifice is probably more appropriate, which I say because Bayek used his hidden blade fine up until the point where he lost his finger. I just want to say before we continue, a lot of people seem to think that Leonardo da Vinci modified the hidden blade to not require the finger sacrifice to work to its full ability. No, Altair did. How? MacGuffin. Regardless, you probably want to know what this modification was. In order to do that, we need to understand how exactly the hidden blade would be handicapped by the ring finger being present. And considering how Bayek lost his finger when his fist was clenched, it's obvious that when the fist is clenched, the ring finger is in the direct path of the blade. This happens because when the wrist is straight and the fist is clenched, the fingers sort of overhang below the wrist where the blade would go. So how come Ezio was able to clench his fists without losing his fingers? What was this modification? The only explanation that I think works is elevating the blade from the bracer. Having the blade further out from the wrist would clear it of the fingers when the hand is in a clenched fist, which would limit the risks of severing a finger while using the hidden blade. Obviously you could still be a pleb and just drop your hand under and then tense the right muscles and cause the hidden blade to stab your hand, but I don't understand why anybody trusted with using a hidden blade would be dumb enough to do that. This leads us on to our next question. If the modification to avoid the finger sacrifice is so easy, why didn't somebody do it sooner? In order to understand that, we need to understand how a hidden blade works. Now, to put it simply, the blade is activated when a certain muscle flexes and pushes a button. So the blade is activated by muscles, basically. Now, it would probably be harder from a mechanical point to make that work if the blade is then elevated from the bracer a bit. So how did they come about making this modification? Well, Altair used a piece of Eden. We know this as Altair is seen using dual hidden blades in the latter Altair memories of Assassin's Creed Revelations. Anyway, back to the point, I think we figured out how it all works. The blade used to be closer to the wrist in how the bracer was designed, thus resulting in the ring finger meeting the blade's path, hence explaining why the blade at least had a recommended finger sacrifice up until it was modified. Up until this point, it had become ritual to remove the ring finger to show commitment to the creed, and after the modification of the blade, this was no longer necessary, so they changed to branding the finger instead. This was done to both sustain the ritual of showing commitment to the creed without pointlessly amputating a perfectly good digit. So there, all the reasons fit. Unfortunately, there's nothing to explain why this, of all things, became a trend among assassins, beyond the practicality and commitment arguments that we've just given. But hopefully this video has helped you understand why they did cut off the ring finger, and how the blade was later modified. Of course, these explanations aren't canon, it's just me trying to explain it the best way I possibly can. But anyway guys, thank you all for watching this video. I do hope that you enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share, comment, let me know what you think. Do you have an alternative theory as to how it all works? Let me know, I'd really appreciate it. Also, go ahead and drop me a follow on Twitter, I'd really appreciate that. And if you haven't checked out my second channel, why not go ahead and give that a whack as well. But again, thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all very soon with another video at some point.